My life in looks, long may it rain. Rain. R-A-I-N, I'm not, no. Hello, British Vogue. I'm Alexa Chung, and this is my life in looks. Are we sitting comfortably? Then I shall begin. Yes, a classic. So this is a really stunning ensemble. I was really interested in clothes when I was very young. I think probably because I lived in the countryside and mainly I wore my brother's jumpers and jodhpurs and stuff. So when I got to wear my own clothes, I really had big plans for my outfits. I actually weirdly was quite shy when I was a kid. Modelling was not my ambition, I don't think. I thought I might be a horse riding ballerina, obviously, acrobat with absolutely no gymnastic prowess, or a lawyer to upset my parents. I think it is a good time to move on. So I was a model and then I became a TV presenter for Pop World, which was a music television show. And I was quite keen on being quite casual. I just wanted to look like I looked. And unfortunately at that time, I looked like this. I always liked music and I always liked rock and roll. Unfortunately, what we're about to see is a lifelong obsession with Jane Birkin, but like she's Jane Birkin, I'm not, so this is why this hair's pretty bad. Glastonbury. I think around this time in my life, I really enjoyed the role play of being like a band girlfriend. I was thinking about Anita Pallenberg or women who supported men in bands in the sort of 60s and 70s. And there is a like blueprint for that. I think I thought that knee socks were really sexy. Looking at them now, they're pretty junior, aren't they? Oh, so cool. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I could ever like land a cover of Vogue. This was the first one I did. Even though this is a cover with my face on it, I was probably prouder of the fact that I had an article within the magazine because I'd always wanted to be a fashion journalist. I think I'd written an article for this issue about being a tomboy, basically, because I think that is probably a big part of my style. Oh, this is at a Chanel show. I'm wearing cycling shorts. My first Chanel show, I went to host a show for Channel 4 and I had to interview Karl Lagerfeld. And when I got there, I kind of blanked because I was really overwhelmed because he's so iconic. And I ended up asking him a music question because that was the only thing I knew about. And I said, why did you put the Shirelles track at the beginning to open the show? And he was like, who are you? I think he was quite excited to be asked about something other than the usual things. He was always really comforting and funny. He was a great wit. This is a Valentino Couture outfit I wore to awards with Chanel Couture boots, which I still have, these space age boots. Around this time I went on Fashion Police, which was a TV show in the States that Joan Rivers hosted. And I remember her asking me if I was single and I was like, yes. And she was like, you wanna know why? And I was like, no, and she went, you think that's sexy? And I was like, I do think that's sexy. This was a Chanel Couture thing that I wore in Paris with a Prada bag and Prada shoes. This is the outfit I'd like to be buried in. And I think it is always nice to know what you're going to go into the coffin wearing. Couture is just the most luxurious experience. You can feel that it's a different thing and you feel really regal and naughty. Because if you do normal things in couture, it's so fun. This I wore to the Serpentine summer party. It's Christopher Kane. Often when his collections come down the runway, they make you feel a bit uneasy. There is always this undercurrent of the wrong. It's not a passive woman that he designs for. It's a whole interior world. It's something where you feel like you're wearing someone's brain. This is from filming Absolutely Fabulous, the movie, with Jordan and Suki. I think Eddie was having a dream sequence where she was hanging out with quote unquote cool people. And we were happy to oblige. It was almost not doing anything. We just literally drank wine and smoked cigarettes and had a chat. And they were like, cut! I do remember being slightly jealous of Suki's scene-stealing ensemble. I was like, oh, I've worn a boring dress now, and she's got this beautiful coat on. This is in New York. My friend had a shop there called the Deep End Club, and I'm wearing her t-shirt, which then became a thing. That's my day-to-day look, a classic silhouette, vintage jeans. I really love denim. It's weird how much I'm obsessed with it. It's such a practical item. Every single person has denim in their wardrobe, and yet it's quite a hard thing to design. And for me, it's all about the pocket placement on the bum and how long the zip is. I also don't tolerate anything with elastic in it. I hate a 1% stretch. It needs to be 100% cotton. Yee-haw. Here I am at Mrs. Prada's Miu Miu show. I love Miuccia Prada. She could literally spit in a glass and I'd be like, how much? She sort of plays with tropes, kind of redefines femininity each time. As much as I love denim and men's tailoring, I also have this weird affection for very girly, saccharine gowns and dresses. I think again, because it's just a bit of a wink, because it doesn't really suit my personality. So when I put them on, I find it quite funny. And that's why I like the power of clothes as well, because you really can affect other people's reactions to you based on what you've got on. Love, 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 love. I love this outfit. It's Prada. I'm wearing it to the British Fashion Awards. I am of Asian descent, and I think it's fun to wear something that nods to that. It's sort of a pajama-y, in the mood for love thing. I think I was trying to look like those Chichiko paintings of the blue-faced Asian women, and I felt like this outfit was reminiscent of some of their gowns, and if I parted my hair on the side and did a cat eye, I could kind of look like the blue woman. I must remember to part my hair on the side more. It's probably more beneficial to my quite angular face. That's just a note to myself. This was the first show I did for my brand, Alexa Chung, R.I.P. We did this show in a church. It was really fun. There was a children's choir singing You Can't Always Get What You Want, which now seems quite pertinent. It was so fun, and I felt really overwhelmed in that moment. A lot of my friends and family came, and it was a wedding theme because I felt like I was marrying myself to my future. I cannot even begin to start processing or downloading all the things I learnt, because it was every day was kind of an onslaught. And I hope that along the way I learnt how to be a good boss, and I know that I was by the very end. I mean, everyone did me so proud at the end. It was incredible. I'm a mermaid. This is for Halloween in New York City. I love in America how at Halloween you can really be whoever you want. You don't have to be spooky. My friend went as the best Halloween costume I've ever seen. He went as an actor in an airport, and he wore a baseball cap, a script under his arm, and he spent the whole night trying not to be seen. And it was just like such a great commitment to the theme. I'm wearing a suit with sandals. These are real slacks, and I wore them with a Chanel orthopedic sandal. I feel like I look like Danny DeVito in Twins, in a really good way. This is what I wore to the Met Gala a couple of years ago when the theme was camp. I went to the design library, which is a great resource for prints and patterns, and I found a piece of fabric from, I guess, the 1800s. And we decided to transfer it into a brocade that was hand embroidered with sequins. I was worried about navigating the stairs, because at the Met Gala, the staircase, it really is like going to Cinderella ball. Like, it is that exact thing. It's amazing, but it's quite nerve-wracking. This is me walking in the Miu Miu show. We were waiting for Naomi to arrive. So we were all in like a very hot tunnel, and then she finally did, and it was so iconic. She just arrived dressed and just went straight to the front of the queue and stormed down the thing, and we were like, yes. Bringing up the rear was Uma Thurman, who came out and was literally just doing these amazing moves for the cameras at the end of the runway. I love London Fashion Week. Sounded like I was unsure then, but I'm not. I'm wearing Simone Rocha to a Simone Rocha show, a Gucci bag, some Alexa Chung for Superga trainers, and some vintage Levi's. I really enjoy Simone Rocha's designs. She's so clever and has built her own language and an identifiable silhouette, and weirdly appropriate for all occasions. You could get married in one of her dresses and it could be the same dress that you wore to the supermarket. I'm dressed up as the Queen because I was doing a YouTube about Halloween and I kind of disturbingly had all the elements in my house, like a scarf, a Barber, pearl necklace, granny glasses, and a stuffed corgi. In hindsight, dressing up as the Queen is embarrassing, I guess, but I don't have the embarrassment ticker anymore. They trained it out of me. This I wore to the Met Gala 2022. The theme was Gilded Glamour. I'm gonna be transparent with you about this now, okay? I wasn't invited. And I was packing up my apartment in New York. I was due to leave on Saturday. And on Friday, Derek Blasberg called me and said, would you like to go to the Met Gala on Monday? And I said, yes, please. I had nowhere to stay, I had no hair or makeup, I had no dress. And not to pat myself on the back or anything, but I kind of nailed it within hours. And I just had dinner with Christian Siriano, and I called him and asked if I could come and look at his lovely gowns. And I was very lucky that he had this knocking around. I really had this idea that I could be a palette cleanser that night. I'm in a stage in my life where I am sort of reflecting on things and thinking about things and not necessarily needing to be the one that's creating the loudest noise. And this felt exactly right for how I was feeling in New York. It felt a bit like this night was embracing my future. There we have it. That concludes my life in looks. I think we've ended on a high. And now I'm going to sign it. I'm going to draw the same thing I've been drawing my entire life. And one day maybe I'll meet this person. I don't know who they are. They just come out. God, it'd be quite fun to host a show like Art Attack. Any production companies want to do that? I think it would be really fun. Alexa Chung was here. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm Alexa Chung still, and that was my life in looks.